it's Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight. And John, and Maya Erskine, and Anna Concord. And now, Jimmy Kimmel!
To know how many of you got your annual report card from Spotify today, this morning? And you know this? If you know Spotify, if you don't, send you this year-end wrap-up. It's a little breakdown of your listening habits for the year, which is fun but weird. I mean, like, imagine if Postmates did this. You ordered out 220 times this year, ate more than 800 slices of pizza. It's a bit of an invasion, but so this was my list according to Spotify. These were my top 5 artists for 2021. Number 1, James Taylor. Number 2, The Spinners. Number 3, Alabama Shakes, Huey Lewis, The News, and Billy Joel. 4 of them are also my top 5 artists for 1985. After they sent me the list, they also scheduled me for a prostate exam. It was very strange. They might as well have sent me a text saying, "You are not cool at all," in case you were wondering. My biggest problem, though, is that the year isn't over yet. This is the first day of December. I still have a lot of listening to. What if I go totally nuts on the Doobie Brothers this month? The big news here at ABC is that we have officially chosen a new Bachelor. Do you see the smoke signals coming out of the Vatican? That is why. Unlike past Bachelors, which were created naturally, this one was actually concocted in a laboratory using DNA from 3 previous Bachelors. You can't tell me those aren't all the same guy. But the new Bachelor is a 28-year-old former NFL player named Clayton. Clayton got sent home on The Bachelorette last week. He says he's just a Midwest guy from Missouri that wants to find love. Well, Clayton, you've come to the wrong place. Clayton is very handsome and appears to be a nice enough person, although, I don't trust the guy when you can see his muscles through his sweater. I just don't. Twitter has announced that they're going to start taking down photos and videos that were posted without permission. Twitter will now ask you a series of questions when you're about to post an image to make sure it's yours to tweet. And they do it in a weird way. Before you post, Twitter's always asked what's happening, which is strange. I don't know how you're supposed to respond to that. I'm on Twitter. Nothing's happening, obviously, but then if you attach an image, now when you press tweet, it asks a follow-up question. It says, is everything in this post, including photos, suitable for public posting? If you say yes, it asks, have you considered keeping this thought to yourself? And then, why tweet at all? Honestly, go ride a bike or something. Is this what 10-year-old you saw yourself doing when you grew up? And then if you say, yes, I do want to tweet, it says, okay, fine. But when's the last time you showered? And then if you clear all those, you're ready to post. But you can still post photos of public figures, whether they like it or not. For instance, if you wanted to share this photo we made of Ted Cruz sitting on a hot dog, well, that's still totally okay with Twitter. And since it is okay, you should do it. Use the hashtag HotDogTeddy. And, I mean, why not? Hot Dog Teddy may be getting a new colleague in the Senate, and a famous one, too. Dr. Oz is throwing his stethoscope in the ring. I can see a lot of excitement for that. Despite living in New Jersey for the past 2 decades, Dr. Oz is running as a Republican in Pennsylvania, where he voted this year absentee using his in-laws' address. But he promises to be the best New Jersey senator Pennsylvania has ever had. Last night, he announced his candidacy while kneeling before the all-powerful captain of the MAGA cheer squad, Sean Hannity.
And I've taken on Big Pharma. I've gone to battle with Big Tech. I've gone against agrochem companies, the big ones, right? And I've got scars to prove it. And I cannot be bought, Sean. Cannot be bought. Try Aquaforce's first ever ointment body spray.
Turkish Airlines cares more about your flight safety than anything else.
Today, I'm introducing a new way to help couples everywhere sleep better. Garcinia Cambogia. Because it may be the simple solution you've been looking for to bust your body fat.
Lightning in a bottle. It's a miracle flower to fight fat. This miracle pill can burn fat fast.
Well, you know what? You can't be bought when you've already been sold. Dr. Oz is, Very active already. In fact, he's obviously been planning this for a while because he already has ads running in Pennsylvania.
In every part of the state, Pennsylvanians are struggling.
The real age of your vagina is 70.
Oh my God.
Difficult times
How many of you have penises that bend to the left?
require strong leaders.
I'll be the body, you be the poop, and that's our exit sign to get you out of here. Push her out.
Leaders like Dr. Oz
Your anus looks like your lips.
to rebuild America.
I have built for you, for the first time ever on our show, your own giant rectum.
Dr. Oz for Senate.
I'm Dr. Oz, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Americans who thought this was a joke. But I guess Dr. Oz really is running for Senate. What the
I always like Dr. Oz. I don't know what his politics are. Announcing on the Sean Hannity show doesn't seem like a great start to his campaign. And I also wonder if he's going to make it through the vetting process, because I happen to know firsthand this man is a serial testicle fondler. Well, we both are. We need a better health care plan, you know, Guillermo?
Yes.
Guillermo, one day we might be able to say that a U.S. senator squeezed both our nuts.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
Our former president is denying a story from one of his own people again. Remember when everyone suspected that the real reason Trump didn't get tested right before the first presidential debate was because he knew he had COVID? Well, turns out we were right. According to a new book from his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, Trump tested positive for COVID 3 days before his debate with Joe Biden. Meadows wrote that when he informed Trump he tested positive, Trump replied, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," which is what most of us said when he was elected president. But I do want to break down the timeline here. So September 26, 2020, Trump's not feeling well, tests positive for COVID. He then tests again, gets a negative result, and says, well, that settles it, I'm fine, and continues to hold a number of maskless ass-kiss rodeos. And then on September 29th, 3 days later, Trump doesn't get tested before his debate with Biden because he arrived late at the venue, and Fox News just lets him go on, even though the rules were you needed to test negative. And then 3 days later, he announces to the world he has COVID and is airlifted to the hospital like a cow with a broken leg. And Fox should not have let him debate. Joe Biden is 143 years old. He's... The debate moderator, Chris Wallace, is no spring chicken either. He said they were relying on the honor system, which... You're relying on the honor system with Donald Trump. You might as well rely on the Dewey Decimal System. Have you met Donald Trump? Do you promise your negative guy who ran a fake university? Of course, Typhoid Harry wanted to debate anyway. He released a statement this morning saying the story of me having COVID prior to or during the first debate is fake news. Now, the book, his current friend Mark Meadows, his chief of staff, wrote this book. Now he's saying he's making it up, which is especially hilarious because in October, when they announced the book, Trump put this statement out. He wrote, Mark Meadows, our great chief of staff, during some very exciting White House years, has written a new book entitled The Chief's Chief. It's available for pre-order now and doing really well. The Chief's Chief would make an incredible Christmas present. And with United States supply lines totally dead and with thousands of ships having no way of unloading because of incompetent leadership, you will have no other thing you can buy anyway. Seriously, it's a fantastic book, and Mark Meadows and his wonderful wife, Debbie, are great people. Order here. 2 months later, Mark Meadows is a jerk, and it's fake news. And if you do the math on the COVID, it means Trump had it at that little soiree he threw for Judge Amy Coney Barrett, after which at least 8 people who were there tested positive. I wonder who they got it from. I wonder whose tiny hand they all shook at that party. And even though Trump knew he tested positive on September 26th, he called into Fox News to suggest that he might have caught it on September 27th from Gold Star families who lost a loved one in the war.
I figured there would be a chance that I would catch it. Sometimes I'd be in groups of, for instance, Gold Star families. I met with Gold Star families. I didn't want to cancel that. They come within an inch of my face sometimes. They want to hug me and they want to kiss me.
Right, so I infected them with COVID. What else are you going to do? I know, the only thing shocking about any of this is that anyone would be shocked by it. Of course, he didn't tell the Gold Star families and the Supreme Court Justice and Joe Biden he was positive. This is a guy who didn't even wear a condom with a porn star, okay? So he draws on weather maps and tells you it's the real weather. Enough with the shock. Sadly, testing positive for COVID was the only positive thing he did in 4 years as president. But we have, but he's gone now, and I don't know, it's kind of like, I know it's enough, but it's kind of like seeing what your ex is up to since he cheated on you, you know? We've come a long way during this pandemic, and it's time now to look back at what was in the news exactly 1 year ago this week. It's time once again for This Week in COVID History.
This week in COVID history, Sneezen's greetings. It's December 2020.
Despite the pandemic, mall owners are doing all they can to keep Santa safe.
Sweet baby Jesus, Kris Kringle is in quarantine, all thanks to the Fauci who stole Christmas.
Dr. Anthony Fauci is warning Christmas celebrations may create an even greater coronavirus surge.
They've figured out that Christmas is bigger than they are. Better cancel it.
A really, really bad idea to cancel Christmas.
And we're going to have a Christmas uprising. We're going to fill our churches on Christmas.
If you dare to open the gifts with your family or you go to church, it's over.
If death is inevitable, then maybe we should pause before we destroy the living in the name of trying to eliminate it.
What the did he just say? Meanwhile, it's party time at the president's residence. It's the A-list of a-holes, like Don Jr., Jared and Ivanka, and poet laureate Kid Rock.
It's been an amazing 4 years. We're trying to do another 4 years, otherwise I'll see you in 4 years. We would have had it out 5, 6 years. Do another 4 years, otherwise.
And everyone gets a gift to take home. Alert! Rudy has caught wind of something. Let's listen.
I will ask that he be disciplined for that. First of all, they didn't bother to interview a single witness.
Rudy Tooty filled the air with duty. Speaking of gas bags,
the process is flawed when your urine is more protected than your vote.
A lot of people think all Indians look alike. I think all Chinese look alike.
I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Did you?
Give him hell, Karen Brockovich. This has been This Week in COVID History.
If you like that video, click subscribe and we'll be together until one of us dies.